Hey everybody, welcome to another action-packed, exciting episode of Scotty's Record Shop. This is a new installment of albums you should know about with a little bit of history about the band just thrown in free of charge. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for watching all the videos that I've been posting lately. It really makes the old man happy. It really does. I didn't think anybody. I left many years ago and didn't think twice. Didn't think anybody else thought anything twice of me leaving, and I'm actually getting views. I'm not getting Rick Beato views, but I'm getting views, and that's good. But if you could like, subscribe, and share, let people know that maybe they watch my channel. Maybe you know people that watched my channel back 12, 13 years ago, and they don't know I'm back. Let them know. It would really mean a lot to me. Anyway, we're talking about the band Renaissance, and specifically A Turn of the Cards. But before we get into that album, let's talk about Renaissance. Renaissance was born from a band, a death of a band that actually gave birth to two entirely different styles of bands. The Yardbirds broke up, started really disintegrating in 1968. Of course, a couple of the remaining members left. They left their new hotshot guitar player, Jimmy Page. We know what happened with that, right? Jimmy Page decided to call it the New Yardbirds. Really nice. And you know what happened, right? The New Yardbirds, within a few months, changed their name to some little peedly band that nobody knows about. Someday maybe they'll make it. But Led Zeppelin, yeah, right? That was birthed from the death of the Yardbirds. A lot of people don't realize that there was another band birthed from the death of the Yardbirds. That was a band called Renaissance. Completely different genre, completely different. They are not Led Zeppelin. Jim McCarty and Keith Ralphs, who were in the Yardbirds, left. This was right about the time that Jimmy Page got the whole kit and caboodle, and had to rebuild the band from scratch. They went off, they did some duo stuff, didn't really go anywhere. Then they decided they wanted to form a band that would combine classical symphonic music with folk music, with a little bit of jazz, with a little bit of prog. Prog was really starting to happen in '69. And so they ended up forming the band. One album at a time, Scotty. One album at a time. They ended up forming a band called Renaissance. This is the first Renaissance album. Here in America, it was on Elektra Records. It's an okay album. It is by no means what Renaissance would turn out to be. By no means. Now, this is '69. This album came out in 1969. It's okay. Over the course of the next, 3 years? '69 to '72, the band put out a couple more albums, a bunch of lineup changes. Pretty much everybody left, and new people came in, and people left, and new people came in. By 1972, it was pretty much not the same band. Ralphs and McCarty had left for the most part, and it was a totally different band, and that is a good thing, because the lineup that kind of gelled in 1972, late 72 into 73, was considered the classic lineup for the next 5 or so years, through the rest of the '70s. They put out some sensational albums. Now, I'm going to show you what stuff they put out that most of us who like this band, who even know about this band, the albums that a lot of us consider their best. There was like a handful that came out in mid-70s. 1973, Ashes Are Burning. This has my favorite song by Renaissance on it. And it was kind of a poppy song with a weird subject matter, and it was just weird. But the song is called Carpet to the Sun. That was actually, I didn't realize it was released as a single in 1973, but it was. And Although the name is weird, Carpet to the Sun, the title. Song is great, catchy. I have no idea why that didn't get played. I just don't know. I don't know if Capitol Records, I think it was Capitol that had these guys at this time. Yes, it was Capitol. Yeah, it was Capitol. Didn't push this. Just didn't. The next album is the album we're going to be looking at, A Turn of the Cards. So we'll put that one over here. We'll talk about that. Scheherazade and Other Stories, 1975. This is a great album too. If I had to pick my two favorite albums by Renaissance, it would be Turn of the Card and this one. Great album. And of course, live at Carnegie Hall, double album. Great album. People complain about this album because they really kind of stayed true to their they stayed true to the form and everything with the songs. They didn't deviate really at all. So it's almost like they were playing it just like the record. Some people are like, you call yourself a prog band. You know, some prog people, you know. Now let's get into this band, okay? Let's get into this. Renaissance is not your average, ordinary, progressive rock band. Kind of hard to almost even call them rock. Now, when the band was originally conceived, like I said, they wanted it to be a symphonic, folky, kind of jazzy, maybe a little bit progressive. I said this to somebody once, and this may turn some people off to even wanting to listen to this album, but please don't let it. Listen to me. I referred to this as what would happen if the Carpenters went progressive. And everybody goes, oh God, the Carpenters, they're sterile, they're clean, I love the Carpenters. I'm sorry, Karen Carpenter had one of the most beautiful voices God ever created. Let's talk about voices. Annie Hathaway, the lead singer of this band, Annie, had one of the most amazing voices. Beautiful voices you will ever hear. This is not Emerson, Lake and Palmer. This is not Yes. This is not Soft Machine. This is not necessarily what you would think of as hard rocking. It does get kind of intense at times, but this is really accessible. I found this very accessible. I think most people would listen to this and find it a pleasant listen. I find it more than a pleasant listen. I think this album is a wonderful, wonderful album. Very classically oriented, and not in the way of like an Emerson, Lake and Palmer where there's a lot of intense synthesizer work and some really far out dissonance. There's not a lot of dissonance in this. Emerson, Lake and Palmer had a lot of tension in their music. This doesn't have so much of that. It's just I keep saying a pleasant listen, and maybe some people go turned off by that because progressive rock is supposed to be intense at times. This is just really amazing music. This is the first album on Sire Records here in America. They were on Sire throughout the rest of the 70s. I'm not going to go through the UK labels because it was a train wreck over there in the UK. Another thing, the UK did not care that much for this band. These guys were from the UK, and the critics were like, yeah, whatever, they're nice, whatever, go away, kids. In America, they were popular mostly on the East Coast. And I don't quite know why, but I know there were people out on the West Coast who probably heard of them, but most of their popularity, and when they toured here, they mostly stuck to the big cities on the East Coast. And they did fairly well. Now, they never really got played much on the radio. I don't ever remember these guys on the radio. We didn't have many. We have one radio station up here in Maine that went on the air in 1973 and was a rock Right now they're a classic rock station, but back then they played whatever. You know, they hadn't quite gotten into the AOR thing yet, and they were playing whatever the hell they felt like playing, and it was kind of cool. You know, freeform radio, kind of, sort of. But I don't ever remember them playing Renaissance. I just don't remember them doing it, which is too bad. They did, even though they were really unknown for the most part in the UK, they did end up getting success eventually in the UK. As the 70s went on, I don't know who encouraged them to do this, but they kind of tightened up their music. They became more poppy. They became even more accessible. They became like a soft rock kind of band by the end of the 70s. And in 1978, in the UK, they had a top 10 hit called Northern Lights. It's a beautiful song. And I really don't have a problem with the later 70s albums. It's not the same thing as this. It's still symphonic and stuff, but everything's shortened, packaged neatly. It's more accessible, and some people don't like that. I don't mind that. I don't have a problem with pop music, and they did it really, really well, and they deserved the hit Northern Lights in the UK. Supposedly, it got played here in America again. I was a teenager in 1978. I listened to the radio. I never heard Northern Lights. Maybe it got played on like WBCN down in Boston and NEW down in New York, but on WBLM up here, name dropping all these radio stations. I don't remember playing it. But anyway, anything else I want to say about this? It's great. It's accessible. It's beautiful. The vocals on this are exquisitely beautiful. One single they tried, I didn't realize this, but they tried to release the single off of this called Mother India. If you want to hear a song by this band, look up Mother India. I don't know why they released that as a single. They edited it because it's like 10 minutes long on this album. I don't know why. This was not a good choice. Not that it isn't a great song. It's just not a pop song that would work well. And it didn't work well. But if you want to get an idea of Renaissance, look up Mother Russia. Look up, if you want to try something a little even more closer to the pop kind of realm, but still good, look up Carpet to the Sun from Ashes Are Burning. Look up the studio version. Great song. Look up Ashes Are Burning. That's a little more of a harder kind of edgy song, a little bit. Great, 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 highly recommended band, Renaissance, and their album Turn of the Card. Alrighty, as I said before, please like and subscribe and share. It would mean a lot to me. And as always, thank you again for watching these silly little rants. And until next time, everybody, peace and love.